Hello, everyone. Welcome to this after show. Let's start to play some games. I will just try to randomly accept, but preferably 3-0 or 5-0. Okay, so let's start. Now, after Magnus won today against Ding, then I will play what I did against Magnus in OHS with 2 knight f6 Sicilian, which is not very good, but a bit surprising and quite a decent surprise weapon when white doesn't know it. So let's see. Always the question: should you fire chat to the bishop or not? In general, I'm playing for my strong bishop on g7, and that white is having some small space advantage doesn't matter that much because black usually after c5 manages to trade it off quite smoothly. And also this bishop on c1 is not that that great at the moment. So like he would like to go d5 here, I guess, but might become very weak. And now is the question. Always, I have this 4 against 3 in my majority. So in general, I would like to, like positionally speaking, black should try to push the pawns for sure. But if you do it too early, they might become weak. So let's see. Knight e6 is a bit strange, but I'm hoping to get some counterplay on the c file. Also, of course, if I get his bishop, then I'm doing very well. G5. So he should play bishop h4 or bishop e3. Bishop e3. Now I'm thinking about knight d5, because my knight on b6 is a bit stupid, and after rook a d1, his knight will jump to d5. So I should probably try to trade it first. c3. As I said, I would like to get my pawns going, but I don't think it's time just yet. So a5. I mean, this knight on e6, it stands, how to say, it stands interestingly on e6 because it does some active things, like f4 square could become useful, and also it blocks the e5 for pressure, but on the other hand, it's stopping my pawns from advancing. Like, if I could play e5, f5 quickly, then I would be doing great, I think, but it's quite far off. So question if I can play g5 maybe to quite like g5. I mean, I'm not really weakening my king because anyway I'm the one playing on the king side. So like if I am allowed, I will play g4 probably, and h3. Now it's already kind of a weakness. Problem is if h5, then knight h2 exists. So, and f5 is a bit early. So let's maybe play just rook a8 in the meantime. Now queen b5 probably is. Like after this g5 move, then queen trade should be quite good for white. Yeah, rook ft1, but now maybe, okay, queen b3 blunders a pawn. Queen e4 is what I would like to play, but what should I play? Let's try queen e4. Okay. Yeah, but I think g5 was okay, but a5 was very bad because a5 gives him a huge square on b5 for the queen. That makes my position somewhat problematic. Yeah, queen b5 is an excellent move. Now g5 is hanging, and a5 is also hanging, but a5 is not that big a concern. Can I play f5 or g4? I mean, I just need to get some play against his king. Is knight takes g5 a threat? I guess it is. If h6, he takes on a5. Then, okay, some queen c2 maybe, but it doesn't look very trustworthy. How about queen c2 immediately? Also not great. Okay, so let's just play h6. he can take on a5, but then I play queen c2, and at least I infiltrate a bit. Probably it's not quite enough, but it's the best option I have, I think. Rook takes d8, rook takes, and queen b5 probably should be played. And then I really have to push quickly on the king side and hope for the best. Let's see. I mean, the problem, I would like the h5, g4 is really what I need to be able to do. But as soon as I play h5, this pawn on g5 is hanging. So, yeah, how to do it? I really expect queen b5 because it keeps control of all the key squares. Rook c1 is a bit puzzling because it looks to me like I can take on b2. He will play rook b1, but I'm not that convinced. So now I get some time for my counterplay. So let's say queen a3. Queen b4, he doesn't trade. That's maybe very smart. Now if I take, we get some ending, but in the ending I'm slightly worse. You should probably take with the c-pawn to just push. But now at least f5 is possible, because without queens he cannot utilize my my weak diagonal, for instance, on g8, a2, or also the e-file. So question is, how fast is he with his pawns, like a5, b5? Is probably quite a bit faster than my counterplay. So let's see, a5, f4. The problem is that b6 is a very decent square as well. I think my main hope is that he somehow gets nervous about my pawn push and starts to play too passively, because then it's possible to take over. Like this rook ce1 is, I think, quite a good sign for me, because it shows that he shows too much respect for my play. Just pushing the pawns instead was much more scary, much scarier. So now, I mean, his idea is some trick like bishop takes h6 or something like that, and my knight is hanging on e6. But when you're positionally much better, then you should try to avoid playing for tricks rather than trying to trick your opponent. Now I can play maybe... Should I play maybe king? Should I play? He wants knight g6. Maybe just king f7. Then that allows knight f5. Bishop f6 is a move. Can I play bishop f6, then knight f5? How scary is this? Bishop c3 is a move as well. Just to annoy him a bit, but probably not. So I try bishop b6, I have rook d6. Knight g6 is, I hope, possible to be met by rook f6. Then if he takes on e7 with check, king f7, his knight is trapped. And well, it continues a bit because he has some moves like bishop b6. And bishop b6 immediately is less scary, I hope. Rook d6, a5. Now he plays again according to the position by pushing the pawns. Let's see, bishop d4 loses a pawn. Bishop c3 first, maybe. What do I gain? Maybe nothing. Bishop f6 is another move, but it looks a bit weird. Bishop c3, just to ask him where he's going. Generally, if he moves away from the e-file, I think even rook takes b6 is an interesting way of doing it. Also now, maybe, probably not now. Should do something active here, I guess. Knight f4. Now g3, knight h3 is possible. Rook takes e3, knight e2. Okay, this is confusing tactics. Like knight f4, it's for sure not supposed to be the way to play, but it's a very decent way of confusing your opponent. Just jumping with a knight in the center. Bishop takes b4. His idea is to have. I should probably just give check, because now I can take on b6. So now, yeah, now it's very good for me, because now suddenly it's all dropping. Even h4 maybe. Not the most clinical way, but now h2 and yeah, game over. No, but white played very well. This Matek And for sure I was, if not lost, then at least very close to lost. So let's see, let's try another one against Sku. Black again, as German player. C5. As I said many times, I'm in general trying to play the hedgehog in Blitz because I feel the counterattack suits my style very well. Frankly, this sort of 1e5 stuff is more for standard chess, I think. It's not really supposed to be played in Blitz. So some typical King's Indian style stuff. Let's see. H5. I mean, in general, I'm trying to provoke stuff like G4, even though it might be for him not so bad to play G4. At least it gives black something to play on as well, and there is hope that I can put pressure on the dark squares. Like, and if it doesn't play G4, then this pin is a bit. I mean, could be a bit annoying. But if G4, I for sure I'm not going to take it because I don't have enough pieces to attack there. So he doesn't play G4. Now, what should I do? I think my only vulnerable point in general is the pawn on D5. And knight on F6 looks a bit strange, so I will play knight E8. Let's see. He wants D4, but I don't think D4 is the way. So the knight on C7 is much more solidly placed than on F6. Somehow it can never be attacked by G4, G5, or bishop G5. So now, like when you're playing against this King's Indian attack, it's most often the positionally most important thing is to keep the light squares under control. Not having to play D4 too early, giving squares on C4 and B5 and so on. Who is my biggest enemy in Sweden, in Swedish chess, I assume? Well, I don't have enemies really, not chess-wise at the very least. And we are all friends and teammates in Sweden, so unfortunately no enemies there. Yeah, so now due to this pin, I'm winning a pawn. And okay, he has potentially a square on D4, but don't think it's that scary for me. Let's see, bishop C5. Yeah, in chess, like no enemy. I mean, I'm not that often playing tournaments in Sweden either, so I'm rarely playing against other Swedish players. So like when I meet them, it's because we are playing some team event together for the national team. So let's see. Yeah, the problem for white here is that like the position is passive. Like, let's say the bishop was on D4 supported by the knight somehow, then I mean there would be some positional counterplay, but now like black has the center and the pawn up and the more active pieces, so it should be relatively straightforward stuff. Just simple chess, centralizing pieces, and should be it. Let's see, yeah, bishop B2, but what else? I guess I can play knight E6. I mean, I'm waiting for B takes C so I can take with the D pawn and open up for my remaining pieces. But now the knight will also come to G5, I think. And okay, knight E3 is a good move. I'm thinking now, can I try to make a temporary sacrifice? Like knight takes D5, I will play knight F3 check, forcing him to give up his defender of the light squared bishops. So let's see. I mean, positionally speaking, knight F3 is a huge threat. So let's see. He has to take because the queen is hanging. Then I take back, and next move I go bishop E4. Or even bishop F1 maybe, but bishop E4 looks a bit safer. So there is threat bishop queen h1 mate, and also the queen on d2 is hanging. Yeah, so this should be game over. So yeah, a little bit passive play overall from white, especially in the opening phase, like letting black or letting me take control of the center. So let's see. Let's play some FIDE master. Why not take on g3? Yeah, because I missed that the pawn was pinned. So that's your answer. Luckily for us today, Magnus also showed that good players can miss stuff, which always is nice to be reminded of. Let's see this. This is some. How is this? I'm always confused in these Rosalimo type positions. Like, what is a good version? What is a bad version? And how to tell the difference. I think in general, it's not so concrete. You should try to understand what you're doing. So here I'm waiting for knight d4, which I will take and play bishop h6. I'm waiting for him basically to move his knight. So he moves, now I take, he takes with the pawn or the queen. Now I want to play bishop h6. But e5 is hanging. c3 is not very desirable positionally speaking. Yeah, this is hanging on e5. Can I sacrifice? Or should I just play c3? But it's not a very nice move. The reason is that the d3 pawn is now eternally weak. But I think the more important factor is that I'm allowed to trade. I'm allowed to trade this dark squared bishop, which is a great positional advantage for me to be able to do. So now I would like to play h4. Here goes h5. Bishop d3. Bishop f5. Sorry. Can I play knight f6? Complete rubbish, probably. Probably I need to play rook a d1. Because if he takes, on e4 I take with the rook, and then I have rook h4. If I'm a big fan of Zlatan, yes, of course, all Swedish people are big fans of Zlatan. But it has to be said, I'm nowhere near as much a fan of Zlatan as my good friend Laurent Fresinet is. He is by far the biggest Zlatan fan I have ever seen. So rook d5. Don't want to play c4. I should play e6 at some point, I guess. And at some point, probably meaning here. Now he should go f6, but then maybe g4 is a bit embarrassing for the queen. Could it be? Or even h4 first, and then g4. Or g4, he goes queen g5. Okay, c4 first, g4 next. g4 next or not? g4? Not sure what I'm doing here. For a brief moment, I thought I should take the queen on g5, but absolutely fine for black. So, okay, I will have to keep stuff. Now maybe d4. Okay, he goes rook d8 after d4, yeah. Yeah, this is not so great again. Can I play g5 and play against the queen? g5 or f5. I should probably try to defend. Yeah, this was not great, but what to do? I mean, at least the queen is completely out of play. His queen, that is. And rook! It's not the first time I put the rook on pre e1. I did it in a real Blitz tournament as well. Luckily, he misses. Yeah, for some reason, queen h4 takes rook e1 has happened to me once before. Wow. Against Agrest in a Swedish Blitz tournament. Luckily for me, this time it was missed. So what about g5 and then f5? Now I actually think I have some attack. Yeah. No, of course, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He could just have taken my rook. It was a complete blunder, just putting it on pre. Not been a long day, long chess day. Now at least it looks pretty promising. I should try to avoid blundering too much. Okay, 5-0 and 3-0 both works fine for me. Like, we are in a slight hurry, so probably slight preference to 3-0, but in general doesn't matter that much. Okay, let's try to play against shadowmate. Now knight f3. But I really like Magnus' idea today of bishop f4, and after bishop d6 in the London system, he just went bishop g5. I thought it was really funny. Like, and probably objectively speaking, not so bad. So let's see, d5. I mean, when I grew up, I was always taught that this kind of positions, it's very useful to not have your pawn on c4 as white, because you can maneuver the f3 knight to c4. And I think this is just another case of that. I think theory considers white to be quite a bit better here. Basically because breaking free with black is quite far off. Like, you have to go on probably knight a6, knight c7, then rook b8, and push b5 very slowly. But yeah, as mentioned, very slowly. And I think you can even give this bishop on b5. Now I'm not entirely sure anymore. Bishop f1 was, of course, quite tempting as well. But if it takes, I take with a pawn, and I'm hoping that I will be able to get something on the king side before the bishop pair will tell. So let's see. Let's see here. I mean, I guess I want to play e5 here. First I want. Sometimes knight f6 is a move, and after e5 to play the knight to h5 or even to e8. Just saying that this e5 doesn't really have any future, because I don't want to take on d6, and e6 could make the pawn a bit weak. a6, though, I think is a bit slow. So I have two options: queen d2, bishop h6, or e5 immediately. So queen d2. If rook e8, bishop h6, bishop h8, I play h4 probably, and then try to go for h5. And what else? Knight b6 is an interesting option, but I think I can just play bishop h6. Knight c4, I just move my queen to c1 probably. Maybe bishop g4 was his idea. Yeah. Bishop g4. Or that, which I also didn't see. But on the other hand, I'm not too worried. Probably I should take it. Yeah, bishop, queen b6, I think c4 is what I'm supposed to do. Can also take on g7, play queen c3, and put my knight on c4. Yeah, let's try it. Just to get queen c3, because the check in itself is also quite unpleasant. And in strong Swedish juniors, there are some juniors now. I mean, for a while it looked a bit bleak in Swedish junior chess, but I think the last 3-4 years at least there are some up and coming players. Not I mean, super promising by international standards, but by Swedish standards by now a few people came, and it's at least going in the right direction, let's say. So we have some grounds to be optimistic about the future. So let's see. I mean, I would like to get my queen to h6, but it's very slow, so, and probably not very realistic. So what I should do is probably take the a file and get some small positional pressure on the queen side. Queen a6 stops rook a1. Okay, let me try b3, because b3 anyway needs to be played anyway. I'm threatening rook a1. Actually trapping the queen in a little bit similar way as Nakamura did against Caruana in their game 4, the first semifinal. Not quite the same, but a bit similar. But in general, yeah, how to get all my pieces to the king side is the question. And another similar question, how to play e5 without d5 dropping. So queen d2 might be some sort of answer to that, because threatening queen h6 and e5. So b5. I'm very tempted to play queen h6. Let's try now. Now we'll try something that probably doesn't work, but it looks fun. So here, my big idea was to play e5. So if it takes my knight, I take on f6, and my rook enters on e7. Looks pretty good. And if it takes on e5 with the d pawn, I take with the c knight. Do I? I take with the c knight. By now, I don't think I have any option. But now I see f takes e5, knight g5, queen f6. Queen takes h7, king f8. I think he could have dared to take, but I'm not willing to bet big money on it. So now let's see. Knight takes g6, of course, is what I'm thinking about. Then, I mean, does it first of all, does it make any sense? And second, does it work? It's so tempting. It's hard not to take. Very hard not to take. I mean, I get 2 pawns, and I will either bring my rook or my knight. I think I will bring my knight, actually. Partly because rook d4 is met by rook a1 often. Okay, take on d5, I really didn't expect. It looks very, very risky for black. Knight takes e7, knight takes. Knight g5 is an option because of the pin, but then bishop f5. Maybe just c4. Let's see. Because now, if he takes, I'm still getting his knight on d5 because I take on g6 with check. And if he moves the knight, then e7 is dropping. So yeah, f5 looks smart because of the pin, but knight takes e7 is a devastating blow, using the fact that the queen on d6 is hanging. So yeah, probably this e5 actually worked. Or it could, hopefully it worked. If it worked, it was nice. I'm not sure it works. Okay, let's see. Let's play now with Jackson 2020. Let's see. Okay, let me try to play e6. Knight a3. I mean, if you give me a second chance to enter hedgehog, then I mean, I cannot avoid it. So now let's try. Let's do this. How is it done? The point here is that you delay knight f6, which gives you some flexibility of where to put the pieces. I think the main difference is that you can put your knight to c6. But which knight? Probably that knight. Because the knight on e7 is clumsy, but the knight on d7 in these Scheveningen Sicilians is generally excellently placed. Bishop d3. Okay, takes knight c6. Basically, after this trade of knights, I'm no longer afraid of a long castle for white. Don't think there are really any real grounds for attack. So Now it's more of a positional game. Knight e5, f4, knight g4. Looks very good if he plays f4, but of course he doesn't have to and probably shouldn't. Knight e2 is a bit puzzling. Gives me the possibility to play d5 later on, and also to take his bishop at an appropriate moment. But I don't want to take jet because he takes with the c-pawn. So I will play rook c8 and go knight c4, let him take there instead. Then, now he lets me take, so probably d5. So basically, I mean, I'm winning one of his bishops, so I would like to open up the position. Because I will have the bishop pair eventually. But I'm not yet sure if I want to take it on d3 or if I want to... I mean, my dream would be to get the other bishop. I think I'm getting closer to achieving my dream. Like bishop c4 next might be quite good. Okay, bishop d4 now. He forces me to take, I think. Now it's a big question. Should I play? I mean, f6 is the sort of positional move to go e5. What I mean, in general, what I'm doing is that I'm putting my pawns on opposites. Like I have a light squared bishop, so I put my pawns on the dark squares. Like I also have a dark square, but that white has as well. So I'm likely to end up with a strong light squared bishop if I put my pawns on dark squares. So let's see. Now I have the d file, and this pawn structure on the queen side is very vulnerable for him. Basically, he can maybe not so much vulnerable, but more that he cannot move it. So his majority is meaningless. Meaning, in effect, I sort of have a pawn up because I'm a pawn up on the king side. So the question is, how do I utilize that? Bringing the king, I think, makes sense. I would like to play g5, f5, push everything, but not sure what the right timing is. He wants knight e4, which probably I should not have allowed. Can I play king e6? Knight e4, I play f5, and if knight c5, then I'm entering on d2. So what else? Yeah, okay, but he can play also knight g5. Knight g5 is maybe more problematic. f5 check, f5, knight g5. There's also king f6 because knight takes h7 is. Yeah, let's try. But now I've sort of gotten off what is generally called good technique, and I made it a bit messier than it should be. Yeah, knight c5 is the move I was hoping for, because now I'm entering with my rook. And well, the problem for white is that even after I take on b2, he still cannot enter the d file with his rook. So there really isn't a lot of counterplay. Rook f2. Yeah, rook f2. I'm very tempted to just trade and enter, but again, that's probably not what the Soviet chess school recommends. Keep the rook, keep control, win slowly but surely. Let's see. Rook e2. The bishop d4 idea, I guess. And if I move my king, then he plays rook d2 back. Did I make it trickier than it's supposed to be? Probably I did. Play e4 in some moment as well. How do I do this? Maybe bishop c4 back. He will play rook d2. Okay, I will probably just let him. Rook c1. So I'm trying to attack now the pawn on g2. But yeah, no, this, especially this rook d2 I missed. Bishop b4, rook c2. I can play king g1 still. I think it's quite a bit more complicated to win than was a few moves ago. King g1 is only move for sure, because bishop f1 is a huge threat. Then after king g1, okay, first of all, g5 is very risky because I'm mated on the other side. Let's see, e4 is a move. Let's see, yeah, let me try e4. I mean, I should do something before it takes before it takes an a6 and gets back with the rook. So I'm trying to get some play against the king. Takes, rook takes a6, I play f3. And his rook is really offside. So I think this way I'm keeping my extra pawn. Let's see. Yeah, rook e8 is a better move than taking on a6, because now f3 there is rook e8, king f4, bishop d6 doesn't look like something I should allow. I think I will just play g5. What I really would like with black now is to reroute my bishop to the long diagonal, attacking g2. So I think I will hide on h5 or something with the king. Rook d6 is probably a good move. But he cannot take an a6, I think, because then bishop d5 is huge. Okay, let me just push. If I push my pawn all the way to g3, he's really in a mating net, so... yeah, actually, probably just pushing pawn to g3 is a more convincing way of winning than trying to get the bishop to the long diagonal. Now he allows rook takes g2 as well, which I think should be done. The point now is that these connected passed pawns on the king side will always win a bishop at least. So this should be game over. No, I think I'm also queening actually. Am I? No, I'm not yet. Now I'm queening. Now I'm mating. So let's see. Some more. Let's play against Svalbard. Why not? I've never been to Svalbard, but actually my uncle lived there for a year, I think. For those of you who don't know, it's far up north. So let's see how they play chess in Svalbard. How do I play chess? Bishop b5. 97. a6, winning the bishop pair. Not winning it because bishop d3. There is always the question, where should you place what, basically? So I play g6, bishop g7, probably e5 is possible. Am I doing it a bit strange now? Because now I can take an e5 next, and I'm not entirely, yeah, but probably I will have to let him. I was thinking briefly about taking twice on d4, but it takes with the queen, and d6 is a bit weak. So I think you should take on e5 now, yeah, just to play c4 next, and the knight comes to c3. I think that's the key idea. with the knight already on d2, then this exchanging in the center is a bit not the most critical way, let's say. So I'm trying to fight against his idea by stopping knight c3. Let's see. b3. I should bring my knight to d4, but via which square? Probably via e8, knight c7. Now I want knight e6 and knight d4, and take with the c pawn. Then my knight is ready to jump to c5, which I think is I mean, basically this central structure means that whoever gets his knight to d4 or d5 first in general is better. So here, by playing b4, I was able to stop his knight coming to d5 quicker. Now he wants knight e3 anyway, to go knight d5. But can I do something in the meantime? He can also take his bishop, but that's a bit nah, not what I want. Queen f6 is moved, but then knight 3d2 worries me a bit. Okay, what should I do? Can I go with the other knight somehow? Let's see. But knight f6, knight e3, knight h5, knight d5. Yeah, but knight e3 is very risky when I can take an f3. Let's see. Knight takes e5 is technically legal as well. Knight takes e5. I was sort of assuming that I have some tricks on the long diagonal, or like knight h5 was one of my options here. Knight g4 is also. Knight g4 takes. Knight h5. If he has to take with the bishop on d4, I think I have positional compensation with the bishop pair. But if he doesn't, then yeah, then he's a bit of in some trouble. Like knight f3, I can take it, and the bishop on b2 was hanging. Now I think I should have great positional compensation, even though I'm a pawn down. Don't know. Knight c6 looks to me very risky because the knight really does not have a lot of squares. Queen d6. Yeah, I think the knight is just trapped now. So he had to go back to f3, but then some knight f4 and d3 coming and so on. Looked very, very nice for black, actually, sort of a little bit by accident. So let's see. Yeah, the knight is just trapped as far as I can tell. So should be game over. Yeah. So should I take with the bishop or with the bishop takes? Then rook a d1 looks a bit too messy. So why not play it the boring way? When you're a piece up, trade stuff. Bishop c3. Yeah, it's just a piece up, so it's really not. I mean, some very, very bad things must have happened for me not to win. Well, they have done before, so shouldn't rule it out. But I'm very confident in my chances. Yeah, he does have 2 pawns, but the problem is that the pawns, they are going absolutely nowhere. So, whereas the dark squares are very weak, and yeah, rook d7, knight c5, rook c7, rook c8, trade off the active rook. Bishop takes e4 is also possible. Yeah, Rook e7 probably necessary, but then just rook a d8, I guess. Rook f d8. Okay, let's see. Bishop takes e4 was possible, but then he would take on e4 probably, and here I'm playing for complete domination rather than winning another pawn. So knight d4 next. Then I can maybe start to push the a pawn, open the a file. Yeah, now. King g2. Just a5 maybe. Bishop d3, a4. What else? Bishop b1, also a4, I guess. It takes, I play bishop c6 or rook a8 probably. Yeah, 95, let's take. And those passed pawns, they are not really going that far. d6, rook d8, and I block on c5. Yeah. Knight c5. Now it's completely blocked, and my b pawn is queening very soon. So let's see. Knight bishop e4, b3, I guess is fine. d6, rook d8, b2. Okay. a8. Blocking on the dark square because he doesn't have a light squared bishop. Okay. I think it was pretty all right. Let's play now against. Wow! Some international master wants to play. I'm white. Sorry. e4. Let's see. Thanks for the game, by the way. Last game. Knight c3. Let's try to avoid theory against these Norwegians. Knight c6, bishop b5. Basically, if he lets me take on c6, I'm happy because my pawn is still on f2. Then I can play f4 before knight f3. So e6. Is this how we play? a6, bishop d3, I guess. Bishop c4 is also possible, I think. Bishop d3. Now I know that knight c6 is a move. Just come back, and after bishop e2 and d4, we can get a normal Sicilian, but both sides having lost 2 moves, which is a bit peculiar. But as far as I know, knight c6 is the theoretically recommended move. Let me try. b5 is a bit surprising because after a4, this typical case that his structure is a bit weird when he has to play b4 too early. So I'm expecting d6 to be played quite soon. He plays d5. So I did not expect. Does he want d4? Probably not. Let's see what he wants. Because d4 would really emphasize this weakness of the c4 square. But no, so he goes bishop e7. So e5 I'm not so sure about. Knight d7 and yeah, not so clear what I'm doing. Maybe I can take on d5. He takes with the queen. I have to say that I'm a bit surprised by some of his moves, but maybe that's why I lost, as Korchnoi once said after a game. I didn't expect any of his opponent's moves and lost. So, this is Mihailovich. So, with him, I actually made a draw in Politiken Cup ages ago. I think his rating was like around 2000. So, let's see who has improved the most. Queen e3 attacks the pawn on c5. Now next I want d4. And if I see it correctly, then if I understand it correctly, then I should have quite a decent initiative. Basically, most of my pieces are pointing towards his king, which is always a very good sign. But it's always far from mate in this position, so probably should not overestimate my position. Let's see. Is h4 too early? h4 looks insane. Bishop b6, queen c6. Also not great. Yeah, I might just be wrong and black is completely fine. I have no idea. So I'm rerouting my bishop. c2 is on, not on pre because the queen is trapped. That's why rook c8. So rook c1. e5 now. Wow. He wants f5 even. Bishop b6, queen b8. Rook fd1, f5. Is it a problem for me? Should I move my knight first? f5, knight d2, e4, bishop e2, f8. He's pushing a lot of pawns in that line. Not sure that I'm that happy. Also, I'm getting low on time. Okay, so let's play rook fd1. f5, rook d7. F takes e4. Does it work for me? Probably not. So after f5, I have to go some other place. Probably to d2, allow this e4, and then I'm really unsure what is going on. But he should play f5 for sure. Can I play bishop c5? He plays knight f6. Again, a move that I did not anticipate. So bishop g4. Rook c6 he will play. Rook c3 I missed. Now he will take on g2 next. That's a bit problematic. What should I play? Rook d3, only move. This. Now I'm getting flagged as well. Wow. What is this? What is going on here? So now it's a draw. Now it's no longer a draw. Okay, I got flagged, but probably winning position in the end. Too weak, too slow. What to do? Also, I probably misevaluated the position in the beginning. Okay, let's play some all the lives I could ever live. Yeah, Mihailovich was Mihailov was incredibly fast actually. No chance to hold. The question is, my opponent there? My opponent does not seem to be there, so let's try to play someone else who might be there. Let's play this name. I really don't know how to pronounce. Let's see, d4. Should I play knight f6? How do I play the hedgehog from here? I guess e6. Yes, thank you, Sebastian. It was a nice game. It's a bit of a pity that time ran out, but don't think I was doing particularly well. Anyway, so let's see. Queen b6 is a typical blitz move. I'm trying to confuse my opponent. General, I want to attack something. Knight c3, bishop c5, knight a4. Let's try bishop c5. My plan is very clearly to attack something on every move. So bishop takes f2. That's a bit surprising. Quite a dangerous pawn to lose, actually. A3. Probably I should open up the position. C5, let's see, it takes, I guess. Bishop E3. I want to play E5 next. So, or knight G, probably knight G4 is. It's also quite strong because F2 and E3 squares are really weak. Now knight takes. Knight on B3 will be hanging and the bishop on G2 will be hanging, so. Yeah, after blundering this F2 pawn, it's really very difficult to come back, of course. But that's why you should, in Blitz, more often than in classical chess, try to attack something, because it's not always that they are defending. So here we see it again. Yeah, Queen B6 is very rare and a bit tricky. So of course it's possible to go wrong. Let's see now some. Let's try to play against FrenchConnections. I hope it's not FrenchConnections, because I heard internet went down there today. Open and disconnected. Let's see. No, he came back. Nice. Maybe it is the Paris internet still playing tricks. So bishop E4, bishop G5. Let's see. Let me try to play an old gambit of mine, which not really my gambit, but something that I played. E5. It looks completely insane, and I still cannot explain completely why it's supposed to be okay, or why it's supposed to be playable at all. But when you start to suggest some moves for white, it's not surprisingly tricky. This, for instance, I think I'm kicking the bishop with G5. And then I play knight C5, and I want to take back the pawn on E5. I think it's quite difficult for him to hold it. I'm not sure that I'm supposed to play G5. Yeah, no, this E5 is not, I mean, don't try this at home, let's say, but it's not as bad as it looks, because it has some logic. I mean, in general, black is trying to argue that white is losing some time with the bishop, and the dark squares are potentially a bit weak. For instance, here it worked pretty well, because now, I mean, this pawn on G5 doesn't look that dumb, because it controls some dark squares. And his knight on G1 has some problems developing. Let's see. What is the name of the gambit? Well, to be honest, I hope it doesn't have a name. It's not quite good enough to have a name, but maybe it does. I don't know. So now he provoked here. How do I? Knight G6. Let's say. I want bishop E5. I want to do something before he castles long. So what should I do? Maybe knight F4. Bishop takes C5. I think is very nice for black, actually. I just play the ending, and I have these dark squares. Let's see. He should probably take and play long castle. I play king C7. But this bishop on G7 is really huge. It's really a monster here, I think. So G3, I don't think I would even have taken. So now, when you have the bishop pair, you should normally open up the position. Probably I should waste the move on getting my knight to a better square first. Finally, we are beginning to reach positions where I would much rather have my pawn on G6 than G7, but you can't get everything. Yeah, well, Grandelius Gambit, we could be able to call it, but unfortunately, I was far from the first to play it, I think, so it feels a bit... I mean, I don't feel I deserve to take credit for the name. But I have to say, it's better than it looks. It looks very, very bad, and it's probably just bad or very bad. So, and again, it's the type of kind of things that works in Blitz, because you should try to attack your opponents as soon as possible, is my theory. And it goes very well in line with that philosophy. But now the position stabilized, I have 2 bishops. This e-pawn is, I think, more weak than strong, and my dark squared bishop is exercising a lot of control, which is sort of in these days. Now I tried to attack b2. No, to be honest, I'm not sure if I played it in a federated game. Not in a classical game, I think not, but I have been intending to play it in a classical games. Just luckily, maybe for me, my opponent didn't play the Krompovsky. So let's see, rook b3. Does it pick up a pawn? Looks like it picks up b2. Or if it goes knight c3, then I take more than one of the pawns. So there, yeah, this looks convincing enough. Let's see. Rook f3. I guess I can just take on b2 with the rook. Check and doubling on the second rank, a la Nimzovich. That's enough. Let's see. Let's try to play against Joop. FIDE Master Joop. Is he there? Is he Dutch? No, from Spain. And my score is 0-1 against Joop, so I should really do my very best. So, and I'm in super serious move. I play I play d6 instead of e6 and move 2. Let's play some classical. Bishop g5, e6, I guess. This is, I always thought, was a very, very nice position to play if there hadn't been so much theory. But now there is a lot of theory, and that makes it a little bit less nice, because theory in general thinks that white is doing well. Let's see. h4, queen c7. If it takes on f6, I think more often than not you take back with the bishop and sacrifice the d6 pawn for positional compensation. With, again, this very strong dark squared bishops. So a3, rook c8, probably. He goes h5 at some point, but I guess I play h6 against that. The question always, when can you castle short with black? And I think in general you need to do it quite soon. Probably I need to do it here and just hope that I survive. So I don't really see any options. This rook c8 maybe was not the best. Now it takes, and we get something similar to what I talked about, like these kind of positions. And as I mentioned, the point is that my bishop on put it on e5 just to emphasize how strong it is. The problem is that I'm a pawn down, and it's not that. I mean, I don't have any. Wow. For some reason, I thought this didn't work. That I had rook d8, but queen c7, and the rook is protected on yikes. Wow. Okay, but then is it really lost? Wow, yes, the bishop was hanging. I'm not even sure that I'm lost, because I will have rook takes c3 next move. And as far as I can see, the attack is very, very dangerous. I mean, it's very dangerous in the sense that I will probably have a perpetual. Still, having a perpetual is... there is rook... No, rook d8 I take. Let's see. It takes, king c1. I should have at least a perpetual, but do I have more? Unlikely. Queen b4 was what I was hoping of, because now I take, and I take on f3, and I won back my pawn. And I'm doing all right, I think. I would like to... okay, I need Luft. And then I need to attack his kingside pawns. Probably g5. Next h6. Yeah, this looks pretty okay for me. Am I better? Probably not. So my... I need to protect. Can I win this? My idea is to bring my king forward, but not sure it's enough for a win. King takes e4, rook takes a6. Maybe rook d8 first and bishop d3. Yeah, probably not. Bishop d3 anyway. King f3. Now it's a big question. Which pawn should I pin my hopes on? But probably the pawn on g4. King h5. Let's see. He moves the bishop. I take on h6. I push my g pawn. Push all my pawns. Yeah, now it looks pretty good. No, what he needed to do was to absolutely keep control of the kingside pawns, not move them at all. He played to move them forward, but it didn't really work. Did I blunder the pawn on? No, let's play bishop d6 or rook f2 or king g5. Let's see now. Ah, such a mouse slip. I wanted rook f2. Wow. Let's see. What is this? And a very dirty flag. But okay, it was quite winning for me if I didn't put my rook on pre. Didn't blunder my rook. Okay, let's see. What is this? Let's try to play against Chess Based Australia. Maybe we played last time. I actually don't. I kind of recognize that handle. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that last game with flagging. I was not supposed to flag, but on the other hand, this rook e2 was a bit sad. Let's see. How is this? This is a bit similar to one of the positions we had before, where it's difficult for black to generate counterplay, I think. Because neither e6 nor a6 b5 is very likely to help too much. He wants knight e5, but knight e5 and the knight will be a bit vulnerable or in the risk of getting trapped. So knight d2, I want h3 and f4 next. Let's see, h3, f4, knight f3. Okay, but he can come to f7, which is much better than d7. So it's probably nothing special for white. I might even have misplayed it a bit. Knight f3. Can I play knight f3? I would really like to make his knight bad on f7, but If he can play e6 or e5, he's okay. Yeah, I don't know. Queen c2 92 was maybe too optimistic. I should just have let him trade on f3 and kept developing normally. It's very easy to play too ambitiously. At least it was always for me. So e6 now is probably sort of obligatory. Well, I guess maybe on the next move it's still okay. I have to take it. She takes with the rook. I have to move my queen back. Now e5 makes me a bit happy because now I don't have to take it on e6. Let's see. e4. My idea was knight h4, and my idea was that bishop d4, bishop e3 is never a problem. Now I see that e3 is pretty decent move for him because I cannot take it. He takes with the rook, and then there is bishop d4 pinning. But he doesn't do it, so I should probably stop it as soon as I can. Can I play f5 next? f5, f6. Do I recommend any fika, Swedish fika? Yes, I recommend it. It's basically, yeah, it doesn't matter in what form. It tends to include coffee, which is already a very good start. So usually some cake, which makes it even better. Some friends usually involved, makes it, if possible, even better. So yeah, I can recommend it. The concept is great. So let's see. Now it got a bit messy. Rook, queen takes f2. I take with the rook. He takes back on g6. My rook is hanging, but I play something like rook e1 or rook f1. Probably rook f1 because his knight doesn't have too many squares. Ah, knight g5 was sort of creative. I mean, it looks like I can just take it, but then he takes my rook on a1. This was pretty nice. Maybe rook e1. Let him take on h3. Ah, h6. Knight f5. I think he should have taken on h3 because this g takes h7 was not so scary. So let's see. Take on f8. Can I take on g5 and take on e4, or is it too? Okay, let's do it. Bishop d4, king h2. He enters on f2, but I guess I have counterplay. h4, g4, is it the thing? Nah, rook f7. Ah, bishop e5. Now h5, h6. He wins g3, but I think my pawns are pretty strong here. Like even after I lose my bishop, then I think my pawns are promoting if I calculated correctly. Let's see who else to play. Let's play against crypto. If he's there. Okay, e4. Let's play knight c6 as Magnus did. Yeah, thank you for the game. Thank you very much. It was a big fight until the very end. No, I actually think I might have been doing well in the end, sort of partly by luck. Because my pawns were very strong, even though I lost my bishop. So exchange French. Normally not an active opening. c4 is an active move though. But now he has to generate some play because he has an isolated queen's pawn. And I'm not sure that this setup is the easiest to generate play against. I'm not sure. So bishop takes f3, queen takes, knight takes d4. Is it the thing? Probably it is, yeah? Okay, g takes you cannot take because the king will be way too weak. So queen takes, knight takes d4. Probably you should take. And take on b7, but I play rook b8, take on b2, and seems to me... Actually, after queen takes b7, I have another move here, which is very interesting. That is to play c6, to just sort of make his queen very bad. I think I will try to do it. Then after, let's say, something like rook a d1, I even have options such as knight f3 check. Knight f3, if he takes, I have queen g5, queen f4. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not quite enough, I think. Knight f3, also king h1, so... Let's see. Probably queen h4 is more sane. In general, with the queen on b7, his king is very vulnerable. So I'm pretty optimistic about my chances. Let's see. It's not so easy to bring back the... Yeah, queen d7 is a good try. So my idea was to play queen f4. He plays g3. I play knight f3 check. He moves the king. I can take on c4, but is it enough? I could also, yeah, but it's not very interesting position. The problem is interesting position means that wasting time is a relevant factor. Knight f3, king, what should I play? It's very exciting. Queen f4, knight f3. I will try this. Let me try. It looks like the most enterprising move. g3, knight f3, king g2, I have knight h4. Not sure it helps, but I have it at least. Not entirely sure why he's thinking, because this is the only move. King h1, my idea is queen h6. Now I see that rook takes d6 and the queen is actually protecting. So it simply doesn't work. King g2, knight h4. This, strictly speaking, I mean, technically speaking, he can take it, but it looks so dangerous. Queen h2, and then he has to run upwards with the king. It looks very dangerous, but maybe it's completely fine. A d8. What is this? Is it just completely fine? Check. Wow. Maybe he's, let's see. Okay, d8. Queen g4, queen h2 is forced. Next I play, my idea was to play h5 next. So if he takes it, I take an h3, and that's very, very scary. But if he doesn't take it, then it's not so easy for him to defend everything. I think he has a very good move in queen f5. Because g6, which was a natural follow-up, then he can just take it because it's pinned. So queen f5 probably just ends all my efforts for... I mean, I was going for the beauty prize here, but... Yeah, what to do? This was very sad. And now I'm getting kicked back. Let's see, what is rook queen? He wants to take on g7 or what? Let's see. Finally, my only trick in the position. It's actually a very nice final position. He takes g7, king takes, rook g1, it looks like mate, but queen g6, and when he takes, I take with the f pawn, so I win back the queen, and then I'm going to change up. So a little bit lucky, but yeah, it's 3-0. So let's see. So thanks for the game. Let's try open Sicilian, normal open Sicilian. Queen c7. Here there are many moves, but g4 looks like a very early way to get some attack going. So g4, h4. It's actually a line nowadays. It wasn't a line when I looked at it first. I think it was 9 or 10 years ago. A friend of mine was showing it, and of course I jumped at the idea to attack that early. But now it's a line. b5 makes me tempted to take it, because normally this capture is not very dangerous, but with the knight on e7, the d6 square is very weak. So I think if it takes back now on b5, knight takes, and then knight d6, knight takes f7 is very, very good. So bishop b7 probably has to be played, but it's obviously somewhat sad having to let go of the b5 pawn. And the problem now, I mean, basically what happened is that this knight g7 is only good when white cannot in a convenient way move the knight from d4. But here I could move the knight to b3, and which was a perfectly decent square, and then the knight on on e7 was a bit clumsy. He wants to take on c3, queen d2. My last move was not great. Because it allowed bishop b4. Yeah, let's see. Knight f4, a3. Knight g2 is, I think, nothing. It's one check, and then he has to go back. But this is better. Queen f3 now takes. Actually, what should I take back with? Normally you take with a pawn, but then queen b6 and this a3 move really hurts me. So if it takes on d3, I have to take with the queen, I think. Okay, g5 is creative, but I think it might be a tad too creative, if I have to be honest. Take. Many interesting moves now. Rook h5 is one move that is very nice, because if it takes with the knight, I take on g5, and his dark squares are collapsing completely. But rook h5, he plays knight e5, which I don't really like that much. Maybe I'll play. I mean, I understand it doesn't look very very tempting, but bishop f1, knight e5, queen g3, and now he doesn't really have any threats as far as I can see. So now I will be in time to castle long, shuffle my king to b1, a1 maybe, and then a lot of the sort of tactical tricks will not be there anymore. Rook c8 threatens to take on e4. Probably needs to be addressed. Again I'm blundering. Wow. Knight d3 or knight e2, and my queen was hanging on g3 after f3. Wow. That was a major blunder. Luckily he missed it, so. Oof. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure about my overall play today, but the number of blunders have been, let's say, more than usual, even for me. What is this? I'm getting completely outplayed. I guess I just have to limit my losses. At least eliminate one of the bad knights, but one of the dangerous knights. But knight takes f3. Okay, now it cannot be avoided. I have to give my queen. Like, I have no idea if it works or not, but it's not something that you can. I mean, you basically don't have a choice. When you get the possibility to give the queen, you have to do it. I'm getting low on time as well. I should probably address that. Okay, takes. The problem is that he doesn't have that many threats, I think. Okay, bishop takes b3 now is a problem. Bishop d4. I should play bishop b5 check. Or knight c5 if he plays queen c6. The rook was hanging. I have no idea what is going on. What I do know is that I don't play well in time trouble generally. Wow. Ay. Lost on time. Wow. But yeah, I'm fairly certain that I was completely winning after this queen sack. But before that, I was also doing very, very badly. Let's see. Yeah, exciting stuff. But happens in Blitz. Let's see. Okay, this will actually be last game, guys, because they have another show coming up at 9 o'clock. So last game. This will be it for me. Let me try to play some Berlin to finish it off. But I will play Berlin in a more, let's say. I'm not playing the Berlin to castle short. Let's put it that way. I will do my best to castle long here. Queen h5, I missed, but okay. I just want to get to castle long in general. Okay, so now long castle, then g5, h5. I think I'm doing very well with the light squared bishop being quite strong on e6. So let's see, g5, king b8 first probably, because some tricks based on a7 hanging. So let's see. I'm actually threatening g4 now, and the knight is trapped on f3, which is a bit of an unusual theme. So still threatening g4 probably. And also my queen on d7 can come to h7 pretty soon. Let's see, g4. Let's see, I would really like to play queen h7 next, but unfortunately I can't. So knight h2, of course. Okay, at least we managed to finish on time. So thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure. I hope to be back soon and enjoy the rest of the evening. Stay tuned for the next show coming up, and see you.